Hello and welcome to the channel. We are going to be watching and providing unique commentary for the finals of the OP06 2023 Miyagi Japan One Piece TCG Championships. Now, just a couple things. First, if you didn't notice by the title and thumbnail, it is going to be Edward Newgate versus Green Yellow Yamato. We featured both of these decks earlier in the tournament. I think the Yamato player was different, but we saw the archetypes, so there may be a couple different cards from what we saw in the previous videos that we did. If you haven't checked them out yet, go check them out up in the iCard up top. But I'm excited to see this match, especially because with Newgate coming back in English in full force, this is going to help me prepare when I play Yamato, because for anyone who does not know, Green Yellow Yamato is going to be my deck. I don't care how good it is. It's probably good if it's at least second place right now in the finals and another one in top 16. But even if it's the worst deck, it's going to be my play for OP06. So let's just get into the match. I do not own any of the rights to the stream, so no ad revenue, nothing like that, as they pile shuffle. Oh god, this hurts. Anyways, this is just going to be my own unique commentary. If you'd like to actually watch the VOD of this without me blabbing my mouth, you can go click the link in the comments and the description below. I'll provide the link to the stream. If it doesn't work in the caption, it's because this is a secondary channel. I just started uploading videos, so they're trying to verify like my account, making sure that I'm a real person and not a bot or whatever, but it'll at least be in the pinned comment below, so go check that out if you want to watch the official stream. That's where the magic happens, I guess you can say. And as players are shuffling it up, I do have both of the deck lists in front of me, so I will be able to showcase kind of what cards are played in each deck and talk about them if you are unfamiliar with the OP06 cards that have recently come out, or even the OP05 cards as well, because at the time of this recording, it has not released yet in English. It is just about to release. So it looks like the Edward Newgate player was deciding either first or second. I'm curious about what they choose, because I know like Yamato, Green Yellow Yamato, plays a lot of green, or I'm sorry, obviously they play a lot of green cards. They play a lot of 4-cost characters, so like the idea, you have this balance between like, you don't want them to get double attack on like the 3 Dawn turn, but also you don't want them to like play down characters and stuff like that and get their board set up more when they have 4 Dawns. So it's a really interesting balance and interaction. I'm curious to see what, I think the Newgate player is the one who got to make the decision, so we'll see what he ended up deciding. If I had to take a guess, I'd probably say first. I think as your Newgate, you probably value a little bit more that odd curve there, but it looks like the Yamato player is going to have some Arlong in there, got some Searchers, the Izzo, and then also the Jinbei. So some Fishman Pirates. That freaking balloon guy, Satori, I always forget that guy's name. Always. That 1-drop Searcher Cammy right there. Look at the top 4. Find a Fishman or Moorfolk card other than Cammy, put it in your hand. And then this is the Newgate player's hand. The Newgate players got some 1-drops in here. The 1-drop Izzo to find Whitebeard Pirates. That's the Treasure Cup Rush Luffy starter deck reprint. The 5-drop Marco to get rid of a little character, and then also that Nico Robin, which the Robin I don't think is going to be super prevalent in this matchup, just because for anyone who doesn't know, that Robin 1-drop KOs a character of 1,000 power or less. So not super prevalent, I feel like, against the Yamato deck, but we'll see how it ends up going. So, oh, I'm sorry, the Yamato player is going first. Or, well, got to choose first or second, actually. I was going to say the camera angles looked a little weird. So Yamato going first, they did get to make the decision of what they'd rather have, and so interesting that they chose the first turn. I think probably for a little bit of the reasons that I had mentioned about like about potentially swinging like 3 or 8 into the leader, so could be really interesting on that double attack. It looks like they pulled off the Jinbei off the Kami. That Jinbei there is a 4-cost 5,000 power character on play. Rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. So if the Newgate plays some little blockers or anything like that, like Tony Choppers, then it would get rid of that, but I don't think this Newgate is playing that. So they're going to be grabbing that Izzo, trying to look for a Whitebeard Pirate, and I think their only option that they have is that blocker Marco, so might as well just thin that out of the deck, and then reorder, put it back at the bottom. You'll probably never see those cards again, but going to be ending their turn right there with 1 Dawn, probably just for that guard point, to be able to block the double attack, because we've got 3 Dawn now, that beautiful, beautiful gold Dawn. And we're just going to be putting all 3 on Yamato and swinging 8k double attack. And that's what's so strong about Yamato as a leader, is the ability to put on such early game pressure. Now, for the Newgate, though, just 1 single guard point was all that they needed to be able to block that, because they are a 6,000 power leader. So now they're going to be moving into their 4 Dawn turn. Looking at their hand, they don't necessarily have too much. Some of the options that you could play the Marco if you wanted to, the 4-drop Marco character, but I don't know if they want to do that this early. So they went ahead and swung 6 into Yamato leader. The Yamato leader blocked the Jinbei. The Jinbei is 2,000 counter power, so honestly a really strong card in my opinion after seeing the counter power on top of that. Surprising it doesn't have a trigger. Actually not surprising, but looks like they're going to attach all 4 of the Dawn to the Izzo and swing 6k at Yamato. And so as a 4 life leader, we'll see, and it looks like they're just going to take it. Any triggers? They are going to trigger. They're going to trigger Shirahoshi. Very, very good trigger. Just play it for free and draw a bunch of cards. So they get to draw 3 cards off the Shirahoshi. They got to trash 2 of them, though. It looks like, trying to see what they got. I think maybe they got a Jinbei in there. They got an Onami, I feel like, too, one of the new cards of OP06. And it looks like they might keep the Onami out of the 3 that they drew, and they're just going to discard the Kami. That's like an alternate Kami, and then also maybe that's a Howdy Jones. I can't tell the amount of cost with this quality, but we'll end up seeing what happens. Now moving into the 5 Dawn turn. That Onami there is a 2-drop, giving 1 leader or character banish for the turn, so could be pretty cool swinging into the Newgate at this point. They've got no Dawn left open. You know that they don't have a Rad Beam. You know that they don't have a guard point that they could pull out, so it really just depends on the amount of counter power that they have. So they're gonna first do the Kami to just get rid of the Izzo. Don't think that's a bad idea. You're probably not swinging with the Kami any higher than that into the leader anyways. You're probably valuing more board setup at this point, and gonna be swinging 6 into the Edward Newgate. All they got to do is just counter 1, but what do they counter at this point? They could overextend with the Jozu, but it looks like they're just going to do that blocker Marco right there. So they're going to rest 4 now to put down the Arlong. This Arlong here is a new character in OP06, 4-cost, 6,000 power character. On play, you may discard 1 card from your hand. Up to 1 of your opponent's rested leaders may not attack until the end of their next turn. So Arlong, wow, that's really good. I think I just read that card for the first time. That's really, really sick. And so now Newgate cannot attack, so they cannot attack Yamato now unless they play that Luffy there or that Ace, which I don't think they can play the Ace. Yeah, because it's their 6 Dawn turn. So all they can play is that Luffy there. and Luffy would only be able to swing 6 if they were going to do that. So we'll see exactly how the Newgate player wants to go along with this. I'm not 100% sure what the correct line of play per se is. I wonder if dropping the Marco doesn't necessarily make sense. You do have that radical beam. I don't know, maybe you like take the double attack, put yourself at 1 life, and then you can radical beam. I feel like it's a little too early to try that strategy, though. I feel like it wouldn't be great, but really eyeing up one of their 2 Monkey D. Luffys right now, and they could maybe just leave it. Oh, he's 5 cost. I'm sorry. I thought he was 6 cost at first. So they are going to be able to swing 7k into the Yamato now, which is a lot easier to be able to hit, and it looks like it is going to hit. A possibility of a trigger, but not going to proc it. Trying to see what that card is. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was in Okiku, if I had to take a guess. And so now moving into their next turn, top decking something that I'm not sure because of the camera quality. Can I move this to 1080p? Is that going to help? It's on auto 1080p, so I think this is the best that I can get. But anyways, going into this turn now for Yamato, they probably would have actually liked to get another Arlong. I think Arlong is a really, really cool card, especially in a matchup like this, but they're going to be resting, I think that's 4 Dawn right there, going to be playing that Okiku. That Okiku on play if your opponent's life is 3 or less. Place the top card of your deck to the top of your life. Didn't look like they procced that though. And so going to be swinging 7 with Arlong there. Actually, did that work? No, it did not proc the life. So we'll see how the Edward Newgate faces the 7k attack when Yamato is on the way, or I'm sorry, 8k attack from the Arlong. It is smart, in my opinion, to swing with your other characters first and your Yamato almost last, because again, like I was saying, you really value that double attack on the Yamato. That is why Yamato is so strong, and that's why people love this character and people think that it's a broken leader, because anytime that it hits double attack, especially early game, is just absolutely huge. So it's really a balance at this point. Your opponent has to figure out, okay, they're going to swing 6k into me right off of this. Oh, it looks like they were swinging into the Luffy, actually. Well, still interesting. I think maybe trying to potentially bait out some of that counter power that the Edward Newgate has in their hand. And so it looks like they've split up their cards into counterable and non-counterable. And don't do this if you're... Don't split it up. Don't put it so wide apart with your cards like that. I know in America we don't have like these card things, but yeah. When you're deciding how you want to counteract before your opponent swings, just keep all your cards together a little bit, just so then. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm just ranting for nothing. Never mind. They countered out of it. I forgot Marco had 1k counter. And we'll just move on. I've been playing Sabo like for the last 2 weeks, OP05 Sabo, and did not remember that that he had counter power. Wow, embarrassing. Anyways, moving on into what I believe is the 8 Dawn turn. Now for the Edward Newgate, got a couple different options of what they can do. They don't have any characters on the field. That is the big problem, I would say, in this one. You're facing down a 6k Okiku that is going to be swinging next turn, a rested 6k Arlong, and then a double attack leader. And that is just the start of it. You know that they probably play Howdy Jones, the Rush character, 7-drop Rush, which you could expect next turn. So it's going to be really interesting how they try to balance this out. They're going to have to put characters down on the field. Absolutely like no blockers, though. all they're doing is reacting to counter power, and yeah, that's it. Like their guard points and rad beams. That is what Newgate, this build, I feel like is just basing itself off of. Almost no blockers outside of those 4 Marcos that kind of save themselves. But anyways, they're going to be swinging 6k in there. Yamato is going to counter that 2k Satori, and so they're just going to be looking, trying to find something. They got to find a Straw Hat, so either a Luffy or a Zoro, and it looks like it's going to whiff. Ooh, that hurts at this stage of the game. Definitely just whiffing at this point. So they've got 7 Dawn left at this point. They can do a Luffy swing if they wanted to, and I think that's what they are going to do. So they're going to put down that 5 Luffy, attach 1 to it because they do have a Radical Beam, and it will proc into the opponent's turn. So just going to be swinging 7k at the Yamato leader. They only have 5 cards in hand, so you've actually got a pretty decent shot of getting a life out of this. So we'll see how this goes, but it looks like they're going to be discarding those 2 cards right there. I think that is a Charlotte Cracker and then a Satori. So that is 3k power in total, I believe. And moving into now Yamato's turn, the Arlong and the Okiku survive from those attacks. Now moving into the 9 Dawn turn. Only 4 cards in the hand at this point. They do have that 200 million V Amaru, I believe it's called. Looks like they got Howdy Jones, Jinbei, and then also another card. So we'll see how it goes. They could probably play, and it looks like they are going to be playing the Howdy Jones right here. This Howdy Jones, for anyone who does not know, it is a rush character, but on play, you can rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn, then place the top of your life cards into your hand. So you sacrifice a life, but in a situation like that, you completely negated Radical Beam. Absolutely insane. And it's a total of characters or Dawn, so they can rest the Nami as well. And so the Kami, whatever that character's name is, Kami, going to be swinging 2k into 2k into the Nami. And so the Edward Newgate player wants to think, well, should I counter out of this? It could be a valuable attacker because Yamato is only at 1 Dawn left, and you do have some characters, but really just trying to think about, is this worth surviving? Because you know that Yamato is going to come down on you swinging that double attack and getting rid of that other life, especially the one after you take on your turn. So going to be letting that Nami go. I think that was probably the smartest decision looking at this hand and the amount of counter that they have, especially after Radical Beam is now gone. Only 2 Dawn left in this turn and 3 potential swings. 2 6Ks right now and a 5K, so they could go a 7 and 2 6s. They could go a little bit of everything. Let's see how they want to do this. It is 6k into the Luffy. I feel like you still want to, oh man, do you want to save it? I don't know if you actually, I mean, you do, right? Because you need to end the game soon because you're not clearing their board enough. They're going to have, and they still have to swing with the Howdy Jones, right? So I think you honestly want to leave the Luffy and let it die because you're going to have to block an Okiku 6k swing, a Howdy Jones 8k swing, and then a Yamato 5k swing. And they have 2 Dawn left, so they're probably going to be building it up in some form or fashion. It wouldn't surprise me if this hits and Monkey D. Luffy dies, they go like 6k swing, Okiku, try to bait out like a 1k or something like that. Maybe go Howdy Jones then into the next swing to be able to get like a 2k and then something else because he's an 8k, so they're going to have to commit at least 2 cards to counter out of the Howdy Jones, and then the Yamato kind of to get rid of 2 life right then and there, 7k swing. So this will be really interesting to see how this goes. You could also, because you're Yamato, you could swing earlier with the Yamato because you are double attack, and so then you would put them down to 0 potentially, and then you could swing the rest with the other characters there. I haven't played any games with Yamato, so I'm not 100% sure what the correct decision here. And this game is way, way different than the first stream game that we watched of Yamato. So looks like they're thinking about where to put the 2 Dawn. They might be swinging with the Yamato first. I think that's what they're thinking about right now. And with the double attack, it can be with or without Dawn, but it looks like they're going to be swinging 7k into the Edward Newgate, and they're going to be reacting probably with that 2k Makino, if I had to take a guess, because I mean, you definitely don't want that, because then 8k Howdy Jones is staring at you. I think you'd rather go into this with them taking the life off of the Okiku and the Howdy Jones. So how did they just put 2 Rested Dawn? Wait a minute. How did they just put 2 Rested Dawn on the Okiku? What did I miss? Oh, it's activate main. It's Yamato. I think so much about Yamato and the double attack that I forget about activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or less life, attach up to 2 Rested Dawn to one of your characters. I completely forgot about that. I am so linear focused into the double attack. Now I feel like the attack makes way more sense with how they played that out. So all 10 Dawn now. Beautiful Shanks Dawn, by the way, putting an end to the wars. The Edward Newgate really has to make some tough decisions. I feel like this is going to be a really tough decision, because you're also now going to have to think about, okay, what do I leave? They don't know it, but the Yamato has another Okiku left in their hands. So if they just kind of let the Newgate swing, maybe also counter out the eventual like Ace or Zoro or Luffy or something like that. Maybe if they counter out of those, and they leave like only 2 Dawn left, that Ikoku's gonna come in, just say, sorry, no, can't use guard point, can't use radical beam. And so there's an 9k swing actually of Newgate going to be taking that life, and they're going to be swinging, what is that, 5-9 into the Yamato, and it looks like they're just going to take away those 3 cards to counter out of it. Yamato looking at the win in the face, just going to put all 10 Dawn on the what is it, Howdy Jones. Now I would think that would be the smartest play, right? No, dude, just put the 10. Just put the 10 there. There's no way they can block it, right? There's no way. Swinging 18 into 6, that would be 12 Dawn. 13 they have to go over. What do you... No, stop. I mean, I guess. I mean, maybe this is the smart play, but there's no shot. I mean, I haven't done the math or anything like that, but... Oh, and it looks like he just kind of scooped there. He's like, you know what? You got it. I see the writing on the wall, and it looks like Yamato, green, yellow, Yamato is going to win. Definitely, if you're approaching this matchup, make sure you know what your opponent's cards do, in contrast to myself, especially their leader, the card that's literally out the entire game. So very, very cool to see in the first major green-yellow Yamato taking the win. Again, I did say, and I've been saying this for a while, that it is my deck. I want to play it so bad. I love just Yamato in general as a character. And the Land of Wano ending the Sakazuki streak, even though Sakazuki wasn't even in, you know, the finals. But really surprising also that Edward Newgate was in there. Really, really cool to see Edward Newgate in there, especially because it didn't really add too many cards. I mean, it just added a couple of the starter deck 10 Sanjis and then some of the OP05 Robins. But other than that, it's pretty much the same deck that we've seen. So very, very interesting. Very, very cool. And thank you so much for watching if you stuck around for this. If you want to see some of the other videos in the channel. This is just me uploading my own fun, you know, commentary content, trying to learn a little bit about decks, matchups, things of that nature. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Got more videos in the channel for you to watch, especially One Piece stuff, and we'll do more of this in the future. I don't know exactly when, but I'll do more of these because they're fun. I really like doing this, and it gives you kind of an insight on the meta, and maybe we'll go around in some English too, you know, stuff like that, switch around between English and Japanese. But anyways, I'll stop rambling. See you later.